Have you ever felt too far gone to go home? Maybe not a house with walls, but a place in someone's heart you think you have wrecked beyond repair. You rehearse the apology in your head 100 times, and still it never feels like enough. What if the very thing you fear most, facing the one you hurt, is actually the doorway to the love you have been starving for? There is an old story that answers that question. It is not really about a runaway son. It is about a father who could not stop watching the road. Welcome back to Beyond the Cross. Today we are walking through one of the most tender stories Jesus ever told, the parable of the prodigal son, found in Luke chapter 15. It is a story about leaving, about hitting bottom, and about a father who refuses to stop loving. Jesus said there was a man who had 2 sons. He was a father of means, with land, servants, and a home full of plenty. But the younger son wanted something the father's house could not give him from where he stood, freedom on his own terms. "Father," the younger son said, "give me my share of the inheritance now." It was a bold, almost cruel request, like asking for the inheritance you would only receive at his death. And yet the father, without argument, divided his property between them. Not long after, the younger son gathered everything he had and set out for a distant country. He did not look back at the home he was leaving, only forward toward a horizon that promised everything and would deliver nothing that lasted. In that far country, he spent everything on wild living. Feasts every night, new friends who laughed loudly and left quickly, coins spent like they would never run out. For a while, it felt like freedom. But money runs out, and so did his friends. A great famine spread across the land, and the young man who once had everything found himself with nothing, not even bread. He took the only work he could find, feeding pigs for a stranger, an unclean job for a Jewish son, about as low as a man could fall. He grew so hungry that even the pig's food looked good to him. And then, the Bible says, he came to himself. In that mud, in that hunger, something in him woke up. He remembered his father's house, the servants who ate better than this, and he thought, "I will get up and go home." He rehearsed the words on the long walk home. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just let me be a servant." He did not dare to hope for more than that. Meanwhile, day after day, the father had never stopped watching that road. Every morning he climbed to where he could see the farthest bend in the path. Every evening he searched the horizon before the light faded. Then one day, while the sun was still a long way off, the father saw him, and he did something no respectable man in that culture would do. He ran, robes lifted, sandals slapping the dirt, he ran to his son. He threw his arms around his son and kissed him before a single word of apology could be spoken. The son who expected judgment received only embrace. That is what grace looks like, arriving before we even finish our sentence. "Father," the son began, "I have sinned against heaven and against you." But before he could finish asking to be a servant, the father was already calling out over his shoulder, already planning a celebration. "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Kill the fattened calf, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." That night, music and dancing filled the father's house. Lamps burned late, laughter spilled into the courtyard, and the son who once ate with pigs now sat at his father's table, clothed, fed, and welcomed home. But out in the fields, the older brother heard the music and asked a servant what it meant. When he learned his brother had returned, he refused to go in. Anger simmered where joy should have been. The father came out to him. "Son," he said gently, "everything I have has always been yours. But your brother was dead and is alive again. It was right for us to celebrate. Come and celebrate too." This story was never really about 2 sons. It is about a father whose love runs, whose grace arrives before our apology is finished, whose house always has room for one more. That father is a picture of God's own heart toward us. Maybe you feel like the younger son today, far from home, ashamed, unsure if you could ever be welcomed back. Or maybe you feel like the older brother, dutiful but distant, forgetting that grace was always meant for you too. Wherever you find yourself, the road home is shorter than you think. God is not waiting with crossed arms. Proverbs reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our heart, and Scripture assures us that while we were still far off, He came looking for us. He is already running. If this story reminded you that you are never too far gone for grace, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you want more stories that bring the Bible to life, subscribe to Beyond the Cross. The Father is still watching the road, and He is still running toward you.